The regular season finale is here as Texas Tech will head out east to face off against the West Virginia Mountaineers in the 2025 final regular season game. In today's video, we'll discuss what Texas Tech has to do to make it to Arlington, why they have the clearest path in the Big 12, and what are the other scenarios and teams involved that could play the Red Raiders in Arlington. We'll discuss that and much more. Let's get to it. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RCMaxfield here for the Red and Black Report. Appreciate y'all tuning in to today's podcast. And yeah, it's Thanksgiving week. It's rivalry week. I always struggle saying that. It's pretty difficult. You should try it. But Texas Tech not playing their traditional rival, but it is a Big 12 rival in the West Virginia Mountaineers. And Texas Tech is heavily favored in this one, actually opening up as 21-point favorites on the road. We will discuss that in much more detail when it comes to the game preview video set to go live here on the channel on Wednesday. But in today's video, I wanted to discuss the scenarios that Texas Tech has to make the Big 12 title, because this has been a goal for this team, right? Joey McGuire has not gone away from the talk, and really nobody on this roster has either, in the sense of, hey, one of our main goals this year is to make it to Arlington. If we do not, it is a failure. They have come out and said that, right? And they are one win away from securing their opportunity to hoist a Big 12 title for the first time in program history. But let's look at the scenarios that are involved in this. And this was released from the Big 12. You see it on your screen right now. Texas Tech clinches with, simple and plain, a win over West Virginia. The Red Raiders are much like BYU in the fact that if they win, they are in. Now, if Texas Tech does stumble at West Virginia, in order for the Red Raiders to make the Big 12 title, you would have to have an Arizona State loss to Arizona. And now, Arizona, for those that haven't been paying attention, pretty solid season actually for the Wildcats, very quietly out in Tucson for Coach Brennan's squad. But that being said, the Red Raiders hold their own destiny. You win against West Virginia, and you are, again, 3 possession favorites against the Mountaineers. You are going to Arlington. Now, this is how BYU clinches. You see it there, and this is the most likely scenario in the Big 12 title, would be a rematch between the Cougars and the Red Raiders. It would be BYU clinches with a UCF win, or win over UCF, excuse me. And then BYU would clinch if they did stumble against the Knights with an Arizona State loss or a Texas Tech loss plus an Arizona State win plus a Utah win. So a little bit more complicated for BYU. Texas Tech, it's pretty straight up in terms of if they win. Same for BYU, but if either team were to lose, it's a little bit more straightforward for Texas Tech, while BYU would need a little bit more help overall. When it comes to the odds for the Big 12 title, I mean, it's straightforward as well. The Red Raiders, according to FanDuel, are very much the favorites in this league right now, almost minus 300 for the Red Raiders to win the Big 12 title. BYU, really the only team that's remotely close to Texas Tech, as this has become a lot more crystal clear with BYU's past weekend victory over the Cincinnati Bearcats up in Ohio. Now, we'll talk about a lot more in depth, this potential matchup when it comes to, hopefully next week, for Texas Tech after they end the regular season 11-1 with a victory over West Virginia. That is the hope. Obviously, you have to take the West Virginia Mountaineers very seriously. But I did want to talk about one factor of this team that I don't think has gotten enough publicity. I know I haven't talked about it enough. Maybe others in the content creator space here for Red Raider Nation have, and I've just had it oversight, right? The fact that the Red Raiders are in this position with really a lot of question marks on the offensive side of the football, specifically at the quarterback spot, right? I understand, really, since Patrick Mahomes has left campus, outside of really that one Nick Shimonek year, it's been a carousel of quarterbacks, and not because Texas Tech wanted it to be that way, just because of the injury front. But this year had the highest expectations for any Texas Tech football team in program history, full stop, right? And you are now in a position even with two of your quarterbacks that you were relying heavily upon, and Baron Morton, who will play against West Virginia, right? He has a hairline fracture in his leg. He's battling through it. He's not 100%, but if you know anything about B. Moore, he is an absolute gamer, okay? And he is going to play. But then you lose Will Hammond to a torn ACL. You bring in a guy in Mitch Griffiths who literally was pouring concrete just a few months ago, right? And now he has played some pretty valuable snaps for Texas Tech, albeit when the Red Raiders are behind or ahead by multiple possessions. But you needed him to have live in game reps because, God forbid, something happens to Baron Morton now. But you've had these injuries at the quarterback position in a year where your defense has obviously been dominant, but in Texas Tech years past. And this is why on Twitter, I have been repeatedly saying I really don't give a damn about history this year. I really don't. I am more focused on 2025. The team from 2023 anywhere or 2024 anywhere in the country is not going to help you win games in 2025. It's just not. So I don't care about your history, and I don't care about Texas Tech's history either, because this team is very different, and it's proven to me and really probably everybody in Red Raider Nation that they are different, because there are multiple times on this schedule, looking back at it this year, that Texas Tech could have folded, right? And I understand that the talent level is exponentially higher on this roster, but there's that old saying, I hate it, and I'm sure you do too, when people use it on social or even in person, where it's the typical Tech. You can throw that dog shit out the window, okay? It's done. It's done. This is not your typical Tech team. This team is loaded, and most importantly, I think this team is just mentally strong. And that's something that I think you could have said about other Texas Tech teams, right? But the thing is this team is mentally strong, they're focused, and they have the talent to make things happen. So I really look at this as really one of the first main goals for Texas Tech. I know that they talked about it, and there's been multiple, social posts from the Texas Tech football team saying, hey, if we don't make Arlington, it is a failure. I already mentioned that in the video, and I think everybody in Red Raider Nation wholeheartedly agrees, right? They're one win away from making it there and then having an opportunity to win the first Big 12 title in program history. And I think the mental fortitude this team has, the mental focus, the mental strength that this team has, with a lot of different variables being thrown at them, a lot of outside noise from yours truly, and obviously others in the national media and Red Raider Nation content creator space. We're talking highly of these guys, right? That can be rat poison, as Nick Saban would say. But this team is so focused. You need to give credit to Joey McGuire, and obviously the job is not finished. We know that, they know that, but really at this point, this team is just so focused on a goal and just so old. I mean that in the nicest way possible. But they're old. They're seasoned vets at this point, right? They're not going to let outside noise affect what could be an historic season for Texas Tech that's led by guys like Baron Morton, Skylar Gill Howard, David Bailey. The list goes on and on. Jacob Rodriguez, right? Like, there's so many leaders in that football locker room that have Texas Tech focused, and now just one win away from having an opportunity to secure the first Big 12 title in program history and the first college football playoff appearance. I don't think this team is going anywhere. I think they are focused. I think they're going to come out and absolutely BTA the West Virginia Mountaineers. If you know what BTA means, let me know down in the comments. But I'm telling you, this team is so focused. They're right there. It's a win and in situation to go play in Jerry World for a chance to go play in the college football playoff. And damn it, I'll tell you this right now. There is not a team, if they are being honest, in America that wants to play the Red Raiders. There's not a team, because that defense is legit. Arguably the best in the country, at worst number 2. The only one you can put ahead of it is Ohio State. And there is not an offensive coordinator in the country that wants to game plan for that front seven of Texas Tech, led by Jacob Rodriguez and David Bailey. And now Texas Tech, one win away from the Big 12 title. All right, again, the scenarios real quick for you guys. I'm going to put them back on your screen before we head out of here, just so you have them one last time. It's pretty simple for Texas Tech and BYU. You win and you're in to the Big 12 title game, and it will be a rematch between the Cougars and the Red Raiders if both handle business on Saturday. BYU against UCF, and then Texas Tech against West Virginia out in Morgantown. So still some games to be played, right? You still got to take these games seriously if you're Texas Tech and BYU, but it looks like it will be a rematch of sorts out in Arlington for a chance to hoist the Big 12 trophy. All right, I'm RC Maxfield reminding you, if you want 100% free Texas Tech football content all year long, this is the place for you. We're very far from done. And oh, by the way, we're covering Texas Tech men's basketball too. They'll get back on track, ladies and gentlemen. I promise. I promise a good rant or two will get you a long way in terms of some mental clarity. And that's what this channel is for. I can promise you, if you want to stay in the know on everything Texas Tech football and men's basketball, 100% free. This is the place for you. And the best way to do so is hit that subscribe button. All right. I'm RC Maxfield reminding you, as always, stay safe and Recom Tech.